Hello boys and girls, lads and ladies, Brad the Guitologist here. In this video we have got to talk about the new Gibson Falcons, the Falcon 20 and the Falcon 5. As soon as those amps came out, you know, I got the email just like everybody else who is subscribed to Gibson's emails that they were coming out with they were reissuing Gibson amps. They was going to reissue the Falcon and the Falcon 5, and they look like they did in the Tweed Gibson era, so roughly from around late 1959 to about 1961, 62. They bought Mesa Boogie, was that last year or year before last, somewhere in there, and have turned Mesa Boogie partially into their own sort of private manufacturing for Gibson amps. Okay, fair enough. On my channel, a few times in the past, I have pointed out the flaws in many Mesa Boogie amplifier designs, whether it be their reliance on way too many switching, too complicated of a switching network in a lot of their amplifiers, the layouts of the amplifiers, the fact that they often have FETs on the same boards or nearby to tubes, which can wear those FETs out, and then, you know, thereby causing the switching to go awry, causing other things to go awry. The layouts of even their more hand-wired stuff from their older days left a lot to be desired and was just a freaking mess. So, you know, Mesa Boogie has its share of problems, and I was willing to withhold any judgment until I could actually see inside of one of these things. So to that end, I start looking around on YouTube, and here's where the real problem comes in. It's not just the fact that a tube amp company and a legacy label like Gibson, a brand like Gibson, have reissued the amps. It's that the fact that nobody who has one of these things first seems to have the ability to turn a couple of screws and open up the back of the amp and show anybody who's interested in purchasing one of them what is inside of what they're going to be buying. And I think the reason is clear, because the first people who get these amps are going to be dealers, and they have to present these amps in the best possible light. And probably they opened them off camera and they realized we probably shouldn't show the inside of this thing. But like I said, I looked at several videos. If you guys can point me to a video down in the description, tell me who released it and what day and whatever, and I'll go check it out, and we'll give those people kudos. But from what I could tell, all of the videos released up until today of the Gibson Falcon line hasn't shown a single gut shot of the things.
The Falcon 20 looks great, feels like it's built really well. I think it's a home run. I think Gibson has crushed it with this. So
what I love about this amp, you can't have a more pure signal flow than this. And what I love about a little amp like this, you could hear it just coming so alive with that feedback. You know, you can go Neil Young all day long like that.
So make sure you check out these amps. They're not going to last long. They never do. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We need it.
So, curious, I went around online, typed in Gibson Falcon 20 guts, and up comes a Reddit post. And check this out. So here is the inside of your new Gibson Falcon amplifier. So we have I'm just going to zoom back out so you can see this monstrosity in all of its glory. So you've got obviously a board down here and a little cage with some 6v6 tubes. Okay, the cage covers the tubes. In some of the demos I saw that there was no cage on the tubes, so I don't know if the demoer took it off so you could see the tubes and you could say, oh yeah, it is a tube amp, and so you wouldn't sit there be questioning, is it a tube amp, because you can't see any of the other tubes. Where are the other tubes? Well, if you actually zoom in, it tells you on this that the tubes are inside. Oh, here we go. 4 times 12AX7 inside. But you open the thing up and this is what you get. You get a circuit board with the tubes mounted perpendicularly on the circuit board. And that's why that explains the heat holes, the vent holes on the top of the chassis, why they would have to have those in this case. because they have mounted 12AX7s not only directly to boards, but now they're mounting them inside, presumably so they can, I don't know, repurpose the boards or something. They do have pots that are not board mounted, to their credit. However, this is just, I mean, this amp is what, $1,600? How let's see. Gibson Falcon 20. No, excuse me. This is an $1,800 amp. An $1,800 amp. $1,800.
It's $1,499. And the bigger one is $1,799. That's on the money.
Here's the Falcon 5. The Falcon 5 is $1,500. $1,500 for a single-ended, like 5-watt amp. Now the 20 is they're calling it a 12-watt amp. Which that in and of itself is always a bit confusing to the consumer when you have a model number that doesn't match the wattage as you would expect. Regardless, the Falcon 5 probably is about a 5-watt amp because it's a single-ended 6v6 amp. So that further confuses the consumer. So they think if the 5 is a single-ended 5-watt amp, then the 20 must be a 20-watt amp, right? I'm getting like 4 times the amp for only $200 more or $300 more dollars. The difference between $1,500 and $1,800. But look at the prices on these pieces of unmitigated shit. And nobody wants to show the insides of them?
I'm going into this without any prep.
And you can shop online and buy stuff. Not this. You have to call us or come in to buy this because it says Gibson on it, and that's the last I'm going to say about that. But let's just vibe on the retro aesthetics for a little bit, shall we?
I love it. I've only played one other Gibson amp in my life.
This is the worst part, that nobody wants to show the insides of them. And everybody asks me, oh, should I buy a newer amp all the time? Should I buy one of these reissued, whether it's a reissued, 68 reissue Fender or something like that, or a 65 reissue Fender. And I'm usually like, well, in the case of the 65, maybe if you don't have the money for an original, because those have skyrocketed in price. But in the case of a 68, it's like the Silverface era. You can still get Silverface era Fenders for pretty reasonable. I don't see any reason why you would want to spend money on a reissue when you can get the originals for as reasonable as you can still get them. Definitely the same with these Falcons. Let's look at what the originals are going for on Reverb. Now they're probably going to be asking some stupid prices, some of these people on Reverb, because I've seen that happen quite a lot, especially lately. But let's see. Gibson, and here's the other problem with reissuing one of these damn things. Now I can't easily search for a Gibson Falcon without coming up with all these damn new ones. It's like, get out of the way, you stupid new ones. I don't want one of you. I want one of the original ones. The GA19 RVT Falcon is probably one of the best amps that Gibson ever made all around. It has reverb, it has trim, and they sound fantastic after you do some basic servicing and a few mods. You can get these. I mean, the prices have really gone up. When I was buying them a lot, I was getting them for like around $500 was usually what I would pay for a Gibson Falcon, and this is a few years back. Now it looks like the cheapest one they have might be around $900. This is not this amp isn't a reissue of anything, from what I can tell anyway. I don't think any Gibson Falcon was ever built like it. Obviously, was never built like this, but it looks to me like, just based on the tube count and the features, it's not really a reissue even of the Tweed era Falcon. So I don't know why they would call it the Falcon, unless it's just, okay, we still own the trademark for Falcon, so we could use it on the Falcon amps or something. I don't know, dudes. I don't know. I try to figure these things out. I try to be rational about things, and then along comes an irrational company. Let me look again here, because I want to see if we can find any original Tweed era Falcons. I don't know. I don't think we're going to be able to now, because it's been flooded with all this new crap, this junk, this unmitigated junk. Who builds an amp like this? And who, YouTubers, I'm serious. After like one of you, I was like, okay, you know, I mean, you might have overlooked it or something. And, you know, two of you, and it's like kind of like, man, come on, dudes. But when it's video after video after video of the same goddamn amp demo, and none of you people, none of you have the balls to open up the back of the amp and show what's inside of it, it starts to irk me. It starts to make me think you don't care about your audience. You don't care about telling them the truth. One of you even said that it seemed to be built rather well. Seemed to be built rather well. And you don't even, you obviously don't know. You obviously don't know whether it's built well or not because you didn't open it on camera. You can't just make a statement like that you think it's built rather well without even the slightest bit of curiosity, right? Opening up the amp. Just open up the amp. Show people what it is they're buying. Here's one. Here's a GA19 for $649. You know, that's the GA19 RVT, old school. That looks like about a 63, 64, something like that, 65. I don't know. I'd have to look at the specs and the codes. Here's somebody asking a stupid. I mean, $1,500 is just a stupid amount. Now these old ones are going to take off in price because of the new reissues. Probably they'll probably start raising those to match the new reissue. Like here's somebody asking $2,250 for a 65 Falcon. Oh my God, that's crazy. Okay, here we go. Here's a Tweed Falcon. Here's a Tweed GA19 RVT Falcon. Somebody's asking $3,000 for the thing with the cover. And I'll be honest, it might be worth $3,000 to somebody. You know, they were great amps. They sounded awesome. They were built in a way you could still, you know, repair them yourself. You could see everything that's going on. Not to say you can't repair the Mesa yourself, but I know what happens when boards become conductive. People are always like, you just don't like Mesa. No, guys, listen. I can put videos up here and show you what happens when boards become conductive with a Mesa Boogie, with a lot of older amps, modern amps that are built like this, rather. You know, these boards, eventually, they tend to become conductive over time. Okay? That's just the fact of the matter. You're buying something that isn't going to last. You're throwing your money away, essentially, when you could just invest your money in the real thing at this point. You know, I mean, I see that, you know, there's a lot of goop on here where they've gooped together the capacitors to keep out microphonics, which, I mean, in a design like this is a good thing. But, you know, all the relay switching and all the modern stuff, if you're actually wanting an old Gibson Falcon, man, just go buy an old Gibson Falcon. And why would Gibson think that it was all right to reissue something and then put out this right here, where you have to take the back off the amp and then pull tubes out of sockets in this manner? Anyway, I thought that was something that you guys ought to see, because it is crazy to me, crazy, absolutely insane, that this is what passes for something that people ought to buy. And it's even more crazy that YouTubers who are responsible for informing your audiences about what's what, you know, if you're doing a review, do a real review, open up the amp. It looked like there were 2 screws on the back of the damn thing, maybe 4 at the most on that back panel. So why not open those in your review and show people what it is? Well, I can tell you why you didn't, because you want to sell the amp. You want to get the amp probably off your showroom floor. But the big problem is Gibson is now going to make you reorder the damn thing. Even if you manage to sell it to maintain your Gibson dealership, you're going to have to basically bend over and take it and keep lying to your audience about what it actually is. And so that'll do it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, hit subscribe down below. If this sort of thing irks you as badly as it irks me, then this is the place for you. Hit subscribe and we'll see you on the next one.
It's an American-made tube amp that looks fantastic, is simple.
All right, so there you have it. I think Gibson has a hit on their hands because everyone in the room wants this, even the bass player.